You know, I grow lots of different onions. I grow green onions, nice big giant bulb onions. And of course I like all different ones. You know, the bulb onions are great for, you know, sandwiches and whatnot and slicing. The green onions, of course, are great for stir fry. But my absolute favorite onion to grow is this Egyptian walking onion. Now, not because of the taste, but just because of its simplicity, its ease of growing. I don't have to do anything to this thing, really. With, of course, bulb onions, you know, you get your bulb. If you leave it in the ground, the second year you'll get seeds, and then and then pretty much it's done after that. But these here just keep reproducing every year. They keep reproducing these bulbs or bulblets. People have different names for these top sets, but I just call them top sets. And if you'll notice these top sets, let me grab one of them here. I pulled one off. And you'll notice here, I pulled one off. And on top of these, it's got like at least 20 of these little miniature onions. So what you do is you take and pull these all apart, and then you see that you replant these here. Those are all little mini onions. And so you plant these, and then you will get a new plant. Let me show you what the root of this plant looks like, the bulb. So in the ground, you have this little bulb. And they're not big, they're pretty small, but this is what you can harvest, and then you know, cut it up, eat it. You know, it's not very big, but a couple of these is all you really need for a dish. And then you can go ahead and plant these, replant these in the fall, and then of course next spring this is what you get. So they're called walking onions because it grows the stalk. Then the stalk will get yellow, like it is now. It's starting to get yellow, and then it'll get weak. It'll start to die back, and then these heads will drop to the ground. It will root, produce another stalk, and then just it gives the impression of walking. So basically, they just keep reproducing that way. But of course, I don't let them do that because I take these heads off, the bulblets, and then I replant these. So now with this bed here, these have all been in here for a few years. I haven't touched them. I just let them reproduce these green stalks every year, and you'll notice that there's some dead ones here that I just left. And I just let them reproduce, and then I harvest these little bulbs and replant these, and I sell these actually on my website. So no matter how you plant these, you can, if you get a hold of these, you can plant some of these and then harvest your own bulbs on top, or just start with the bulbs, plant these, and then you will get the stalks the following year. Now, if you're going to harvest these as green onions, what you want to do is make sure that you get them before they flower, because you want these nice and young, right? You want them green. You don't want them to start turning yellow because they're just really not edible now. They're just really tough. You know, they turn into like a stalk. I started out in this bed here. I started out with about, well, I don't know, probably about 10 of these. This was about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, just in this bed. And then about, you know, I think about probably about 10 of these. And then I just let them keep reproducing. I kept grabbing, you know, the bulbs from the top and kept replanting them. And even then, I had hundreds of them that I was just giving to people, friends that came over and asking for some of these. So these are just a never-ending supply of onions. And they're so easy to grow. They grow in zones down to like, what, zone 5 or maybe even colder. But I don't get hard freezes here, so it they grow exceptionally well. But yeah, you can grow where you get freezing ground too, and they do just fine. So now, as far as the taste of these go, they're not very sweet. They're not sweet at all. They're actually they're an onion taste. They're not sweet. So if you like a sweet onion, this is not the onion for you. But I put these in like stir fry and in soups and stuff like that, and it gets a really strong onion flavor, and I just love it for that. So yeah, this is how I just harvest them. Now I leave these in the ground, but of course you can pull these up and you can move them to some other, you know, another place if you want to. But I leave them in the ground. I let them just reproduce these little bulblets or bulbs. I mean, everybody calls them something different. I call them top sets, but the little the little onions here, I call them, you know, bulblets or whatever. But yeah, you can just, you know, within, if you have, you know, like a dozen of these or so, within a few years, you'll have a bed this size. This is an 8-foot by like a 2-foot bed. And this thing is actually chock full. And I've got literally hundreds and hundreds of these little mini onions to regrow. I could have like 5 acres of onions within a few years, because there's just so many of these onions. They just keep reproducing, and you just can't stop them. And they take no maintenance whatsoever. I never fertilize this bed. I take that back. I do sprinkle on, sometimes I will sprinkle on my decompose, or the, you know, the composted chicken manure a little bit, and my worm casting, but only because I've got like some left over and I just throw it in. But they are so prolific and they are so easy to grow that this is my favorite onion. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest a whole bunch more of these little bulblets. Now you'll notice that they come in different sizes, right? They come in small, like really small like that, and large like that. When I planted both sizes, I have seen no difference in the size that I've harvested as far as these stalks go. Now some of them, when they grow on their own, there'll be little ones like this. You'll see there's really small ones, but eventually over time they get bigger and bigger. So if you start with big ones, of course the following year you'll get much bigger plants. But if you start with small ones, you get small ones, but they'll progressively get bigger and bigger. So it doesn't matter. Now I sell these on my website, and when I sell them, it's kind of a mix. You know, I sell a mix, like small to large, and so that way people can, you know, get different sizes. Okay, so when I harvest these, I just go ahead and I cut the stalk off, right? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to pull it out of the ground, because I don't want to harvest all the bulbs. And so I just take the stalk like this, pull off the little bulbs, and then I throw this into the compost pile. Now you can, of course, pull the bulbs if you want to, if you've got too many. Like I've got a cluster of like 8 of them right here. So I could thin these out, and then I can take those bulbs and then replant them somewhere else. And then of course the process just keeps going on and on and on. So yeah, walking onions. Once you start with a few plants, you will never have to buy them again. You'll be giving these things away. So all right, thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.